So let's get on the best in animation. This could be anime or cartoon.
Yes.
I kind of cheated with this one. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But first off, I've got Terminator Zero.
I still watched it.
This is on Netflix. Kind of an anime take on Terminator, and on paper that should not work at all. And this is great. This is the kick in the butt I think the Terminator franchise needed to try to get it back to something interesting on course. This is about a scientist who knows the Judgment Day is coming. We don't really know how he knows at first. And a Terminator is sent back in time to stop him. He is trying to create a AI system that could defeat Skynet. And he's kind of sealed off in Japan where you can't get to him. So to get to him, the Terminator's going after his 3 kids instead.
Oh,
to try to use them as hostages. So a lot of it's about the 3 kids and their nanny trying to escape, and there's also a time traveling human that's come back in time to try to save them from the Terminator.
So nanny kind of takes the place of Sarah Connor?
Sure. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But this kind of stands on its own other than mentioning Judgment Day, and there's a clock ticking down to Judgment Day, and seeing how Judgment Day affects Japan compared to the rest of the world is interesting.
Oh, okay. So this takes place in Japan.
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting.
Which is also interesting because Japan is they've got all the little robots and stuff, and so you're seeing Skynet come online with all these robots everywhere, and how does that work? And there's a lot of police fighting Terminator, which is classic Terminator, so you get a lot of that. It's super gory. It's great.
So one of my runner-ups is one that I like more than most. I like a lot of things more than most people do. If that's what it is. Is if I like something, I'm gonna like it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I ever get iffy about anything. I'm very binary when it comes to the things that I like.
Mm-hmm.
Batman Caped Crusader. I really did enjoy this. Just kind of in a vacuum. I think that there are some issues with the way that I think the biggest issue is the way that Harvey Dent is written, because he's kind of an a-hole, but by the end he's supposed to be kind of like how he is in Dark Knight, which is not a-hole.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It is a weird take on it, but also the story just kind of ends also.
Yeah.
So it's a very weird take on Harvey. They started him out as evil, and Harvey's always been a two-face. He's always got the side that's about justice, and then the evil injustice side. And we don't really get that here. He's just kind of seemed to be corrupt from the beginning.
Yeah. And so what this show really gets for me is the unknowns and the lesser known villains. That's what I like about it. You got Gentleman Ghost. You've got Nocturna. Excuse me. It's a very interesting take on Clayface that kind of harkens back to the original version. I think this Harley is more interesting than Harley is written nowadays.
Nowadays, yeah. I think current Harley's terrible.
Yeah. So this show, if you're coming in excited to see Catwoman and Two-Face, I like their Catwoman, but it's not that's not why you're here. You're here for the for your lesser known villains, I think.
Yeah, there's episodes of this I liked, and then a lot of episodes I didn't like. So I'm very hit or miss on this show. So it's not a total waste of time, but there's just some episodes I was just and there's some weird continuity issues where the whole police station blows up in episode 1, and next episode it's back.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. So it's
and that's that. I mean, that's one line. Oh yeah, we're at a different precinct now.
Yeah. something, but it's strange. I forgot to mention when we talk about best in comics. I forgot to mention the Harley Quinn fart special that's coming out. The Scratch and Sniff fart special. That should have been in my best in comics. I totally slipped my mind. No, but yeah, I think this series. There's stuff in it that I liked, and then other things I'm like, I wasn't a big fan of Batman himself. He just seemed kind of incompetent at times. I know it's an early Batman, but I thought this was okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. We have different opinions. Up next for me, I put X-Men 97. This series we were nervous about, continuation of the 90s X-Men Fox cartoon. First few episodes were kind of shaky.
Yeah.
And then it just hit the accelerator. What's it called? Remember It?
Remember It. Yeah.
Such a great episode. We have seen the destruction of Genosha so many times in comic books, and it's kind of like, but seeing it in animation and really being in the middle of a very emotional story when it hit hard. And also, it's like, so here's the thing, and I've always said this. I'm going to keep saying it. X-Men 1992 is not that good. It's okay.
It's okay.
It has some good episodes. Some of the Nightcrawler episodes are really great.
Oh, I love the Nightcrawler episodes, yeah. But it's not like, it's no animated series. It's no
Batman animated series, no Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah. I don't even think it holds a candle to like Evolution, and that's just me.
Well, I think later seasons of Evolution, first couple seasons of X-Men Evolution are rough.
Yeah, and then Wolverine and the X-Men.
I think X-Men 92 though is a very important series because it was the entry point for many X-Men fans.
100%.
It did its job of introducing these characters,
and that's why this over anything else needed to be a continuation. Because I don't think the Genosha thing would have worked if like you didn't care.
Right. It's kind of like Wolverine the X-Men starts with a disaster. And we had not been introduced to these characters yet. It's kind of like, okay, I don't care that the mansions and ruins, whatever.
Yeah.
But once you get to that midway point, this show just takes off. And not even if you take out the Genosha stuff, that episode, just the scenes of Cyclops and Jean and everything going on, Wolverine and stuff, it's all great.
Oh, I can't touch you, Remy.
Oh,
it's so good. It's so
good.
It's great. And that, I guess that's kind of like, in a way, I see Cape Crusader and X-Men 97 kind of on the same level in different ways, because
similar attempts, what they're trying to do.
Similar attempts, and also in a way similar results, because if you look at episode by episode, they probably have the same ratio of good to bad episodes.
Yeah, there's some of these X-Men 97 episodes are rough.
That Jubilee episode was stupid.
Yeah, I get what they were going for, and it was nice for them to bring back the original voice actors for Jubilee to play the older Jubilee, but
Bishop also confused me.
Bishop was weird. He kind of showed up and then just left.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like there was we're coming on the tail end of a story. We don't know what his story was. He just got out of there. Nightcrawler was amazing.
Yes.
On this show.
Yes. Here's the thing. If you think about it, hold on. Where's it at? Because I do have to bring this up. So spoilers for X-Men 97.
Mm-hmm.
Nightcrawler had to be good, because if you are killing off Gambit, who is a fan favorite character, and Nightcrawler is your replacement, you gotta make it work.
And him with his spiritual background is what the show needed for all these people hurting, and him coming in and providing maybe not answers to everything, but trying to help them go through the grief they're going through and stuff. It was just Oh, the show was so good.
Yeah.
This show was really good. And when we get to my number one, you'll notice I left a show off of here. We'll talk about when we get there. Caleb, what's your next show?
So my next show is one of those that this is probably the best thing, but once again, it's one of those that's not done yet. So Dragon Ball Daima is started back in October, and I mean it's just wonderful. Like it's one of those that's like, I mean, we look at like something like X-Men 97, we look at something like Terminator Zero, like, oh man, these are badass. Daima's not badass. It's just it's a lovely, wonderful show that harkens back to old school Dragon Ball. And it reminds me of stuff like your old Dragon Quest games and Chrono Trigger. It's just a lot of hunky dory fun. And it's a nice follow up to Super, because Super is badass.
Yeah.
And so Daima just needed to be fun.
Yeah, and I have not seen this yet, but original Dragon Ball is a lot of fun. If you have never read or watched that, it is a lot of fun. And going back to the Fantastic Four run, they're not really remaking the wheel. They're just telling good Fantastic Four stories.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I mean, it kind of is in the world stuff, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not like badass or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm sure this is in a very similar vein. If you like these characters, you'll love this.
So the whole reason that so Daima means demon, and so they go to the demon world, which is where like the Namekians come from. It's where so at this point, like, we just call him Shin, but because he's like one of the main characters now. But Supreme Kai, that's where his people come from. So like they're going to the demon world because whenever Dabura died at the hands of Majin Buu, that left a vacuum for Supreme Demon King.
Gotcha.
And so once they defeat Majin Buu, the King Goma who decides, oh, they're going to be a threat. So he does what Pilaf does in GT, but it's funnier in this, where he turns everyone who had a hand in defeating Majin Buu into children. And then Dende is turned into a baby. And they kidnap Dende.
Of course.
Because he's the guardian of the Earth Dragon Ball. So now that he's a baby, they're going to raise him so that way they can use the Earth Dragon Balls. And so like there will be times whenever like the bad guy of the show is like singing Dende a lullaby or trying to feed him like applesauce.
Oh, that's fun.
It's great. And then you don't for a long time you don't get a whole lot of Vegeta or Piccolo, because a new character shows up to like escort them to the demon world, and he can only fit two, so it's just Goku and Shin that go. So for a while it's just Goku, Shin, Glorio, which is the name of the guy, and then the princess, which I can't remember her name, but there's actually a lot of Star Wars in this, because so Glorio is like kind of like a Han Solo type. Like he wears a vest and he's got the boots, and he uses gun. His special move is gun.
Okay.
And then the princess is really like spunky and, you know, preppy. So that, I mean, there is a lot, and also Glorio's their pilot. So there's a lot of that. They have like a Mos Eisley Cantina scene whenever they get to the demon world, where Goku's just eating live squid or whatever, and they get into a fight. Yeah, you're gonna love Daima once you get to it.
Cool.
It's fantastic.
I still need to watch Super. Started Super, I didn't finish it.
This takes place before Super,
Okay.
so you can watch this without watching Super. This is also the last thing that Toriyama-san worked on before he died.
Right.
So, and from what I can tell, he left the notes if they want to continue it.
Cool.
So,
all right, let's get to our number ones.
Yep.
I left Arcane off my list. I didn't hate it. I just thought season 1 was better. And I think if I had not known about the stuff with the wolf going in, maybe the show would have hit different. But I think knowing the spoilers going in, it just didn't hit right with me. And again, not saying it's terrible. I just left it off the list. I thought the other 3 shows were better. This is where I kind of cheated. Blue Eye Samurai technically came out last year, towards the end of November and December, but it didn't really get, Emmy talk until this year. So I kind of slid in. Blue Eye Samurai is amazing. One of the best things I've seen. Kind of a mix of Mulan and Kill Bill and other things.
I love this poster.
Oh, it's great. And you see the Riders across the top. You see what
Rider of Logan and Blade Runner 2049. 2 movies that I made you watch.
Yeah.
And I still haven't seen this.
Yeah, this like I said, this is great. Basically, our main character is an outcast. Her mother was Japanese. The dad was a white man.
So this is the sequel to Shogun?
Kind of. And there's only I think there's 4 Gaijins or 5 Gaijins in the country. So she's hunting them all down because she doesn't know which one's the father.
Oh.
But she's going to take them all down. It's a lot of fun.
That's a fun way to frame a because that's what it comes down to, is the classic revenge story where you're going from one person to another is so spaghetti western. But that's an interesting way of framing it because usually it's in Kill Bill, I just want to kill everyone who is involved in my wedding massacre. But it's I know it's one of these 5 guys. I don't know which one, so I'm just gonna kill all of them.
They're all evil guys.
Yeah.
So great voice cast. There is an episode where you think this character's backstory, and then they do the real backstory or the whole backstory, and they kind of set it to a Japanese kabuki play. Oh,
that's so cool!
And I think this is the episode that beat Remember It for the Emmy for Expedited 7. And I was kind of yeah, I love Remember It, but this episode was so good. And you get why she is so angry, why people have to die.
It's funny. You don't know this, but the idea of showing a true backstory through a kabuki play starts in Final Fantasy VII.
Does it?
Yeah.
So our character's name is Mizu. I couldn't remember the name. There is the spoilers for episode 1. This is a girl. Episode 1, you kind of think it's a guy, and then you find out, oh no.
So it's if Samurai Jack put on lipstick at the end of the episode.
Well, there's one of the characters encounters at the end of the episode, she's bleeding, she's wounded, and she's bathing, and someone walks up on her and it's yeah. Like I said, this is extremely rated R.
But it's also animation.
It's animated, but there's a lot of nudity, a lot of sexual stuff, a lot of implied sexual stuff. We're in Game of Thrones territory. So just that heads up. And again, very violent, limbs getting hacked off everywhere. But this was epic. I can't wait for season 2.
So does this end, or is season 2 a necessity?
Season 2 is going to be a necessity.
So
like I said, there's like
is
4
it-
or 5 white guys. She kind of deals with one of them and is moving on to the next one.
So bear with me.
Hmm.
Is this a show that lives or dies by the next season? Like, could this be something that like
I mean, any show could have all fall apart.
yeah
But even if the rest of the show sucks, the season 1 kicked ass.
yeah
So
I've always been like I've always been a champion of, well, even if the future stuff isn't good, I still have this.
yes,
And then I love Prometheus, but then Covenant came out, and then I haven't gone back to House of X since Hickman left the book.
right. And I mean, I look at Star Wars.
Mhm.
7, 8, 9. I've voiced my issues of episode 7, 8, 9. I still have those first 6 movies.
Mhm.
I can ignore 7, 8, 9. So yeah, I could, if the next season sucks, I can ignore it. But man, this show is so cool. And there's an episode where she's invading a castle, and it's so Kill Bill. Her just fighting and killing everybody.
You know what? If she's invading a castle, because I big Kurosawa fan.
Mm-hmm.
All of my Criterion are Kurosawa films.
Mm-hmm.
If she's invading a castle, I bet you that's some hidden Fortress reference.
Probably.
Right
I'm sure there's a lot of references
Yeah.
that I may not get because I haven't seen certain movies, but the show's so good. And because she has blue eyes, she's an outcast.
Because she's white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So her whole life has been misery. And she comes across a blind sword maker that takes her in because he can't see her eyes.
Yeah.
So she, but she wears like these sunglasses to kind of keep her eyes.
That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah. So it's and then the guy who played Hero on Heroes
Masioka.
is her sidekick, and he has no hands.
Oh God, that's great.
So he's a lot of fun.
Is he just going around looking like he's pooping the whole time, like Hero did?
He's like this little bald, chubby little guy with no hands, and he has like little blades on his wrist that he uses to do stuff with.
So
And he's like a chef.
that's great. I like that.
And so he looks up to her.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, no, she doesn't want anything to do with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he thinks that she's like samurai. She's good. And she's like, but he kind of comes to realize, no, she's a monster. She just wants revenge. And, but he really believes in her. And it's, man, this show's good. I love it. I've been wanting to rewatch it lately. So, and I don't usually rewatch stuff. So, yeah, this is great.
So I actually did put Arcane on here. Once again, I give bonus points for sticking the landing.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this is not a season 2. To me, this is an 18-episode show.
Mm-hmm.
And I see so many people who are like, man, they should have got a season 3. And I'm like, I don't think that they should have gotten a season. I think that the 2 seasons is good. 2 seasons is what was needed. And I think the issue with everyone's expectations with this come down to the fact that I guess I don't know. Maybe people expected, and this is going to be me going to the most absurd, but this is just to this is the way that I can illustrate kind of how I feel. Some people maybe thought that maybe some people maybe expected Silco to come back as the big bad guy monster, and Vi and Jinx would go Super Saiyan together. And
no, I think my issues was,
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about
No.
Reddit people.
I think my issues were Jinx, and I know why she did, but she seemed to get over being crazy person pretty quick this season. And I know that a lot of that was Silco's influence was no longer there, and she became like this reluctant, martyr, whatever, this image symbol, and that's kind of where I wanted the show to go. I understand why it went there. It's just not what I was wanting, and then it kind of focused on characters that I cared less about, and so I was wanting more of the Jinx Vi story, and it's there, but it's you've got a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah, and I like the Jinx Vi story. I just I was equally as interested in Jason, Victor, and Caitlyn. So like I was in season 1, I was equally invested. So I guess whenever it turns out that Victor's the main bad guy, and then it's up to Jason, Caitlyn, kind of.
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily disappointed by that because I was already kind of down with their storylines as well.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't hate it. I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. It just wasn't in my top 3.
Yeah. I definitely enjoy this. I actually just got season 1 on Blu-ray for Christmas. I'll definitely be getting season 2 on Blu-ray because this is a Netflix show, and who knows what'll happen.
It's true.
Get Blue Eye Samurai on Blu-ray if you can.
So good.
So that's for my animation is I guess I've seen a lot of people on Reddit with their expectations. I guess they're expecting like a shonen Dragon Ball ending. That's not what I was expecting.
No, I don't think I was ever expecting that. It just
it's I don't know, the game isn't even that exciting.
Right.
you know? Whenever this ended up just being more the climaxes are emotional climaxes, not a physical altercation climaxes. And I was cool with that, and then we just had an arbitrary fight at the end because it's cool, and we got to see Echo finally do his thing. Arcane and Blue Eye Samurai, Netflix is killing it in animation and nothing else.
Yeah, so I feel like you go to Netflix for animation and maybe FX for your TV shows.
That's really it. Yeah.
Yeah.